I have not got good news, my end. It looks like this broadcast was deleted on Facebook.
Oh.
Oh. This happened last time. Let's see if I can click some buttons and make it work again. I think it's working. Okay, well awesome. Welcome to Wednesday at 1. I am Elle Wood, estate agent, marketing executive for Estate Agent Networking, get it in the right order. And this is the wonderful Mrinal Madina from 2K Tiger. Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you, Elle. It's an absolute pleasure to be asked to join you, and I'm really looking forward to sharing some thoughts with you today.
Fantastic. Now, tell me all about why you're suited and booted today. What is going on?
Great question. I always wear this. No. I have got an event today. So we are creating something called PropDen, connecting property companies, particularly in technology, prop techs, who are looking for funding. So we're connecting them with investors. I'm doing a talk today with Chris Walkie, who you know very well, of course, from Estate Agent Networking. So Chris is our guest speaker. We've got two amazing prop techs, one disrupting the conveyancing market, the second disrupting the 3D rendering space. So two very exciting startups. We've got space for 35 guests. We've actually got slightly oversubscribed guest list, so we'll see how we manage with that. But yeah, it's at Imperial College. So great venue today, what a very prestigious university, and it's our first PropDen event. So that's why I'm suited and booted. I don't normally wear this. It's rare that I wear a suit. Being in the kind of creative agency space, it's not often I do that, but looking forward to it.
Awesome. So what's the future for PropDen then? Tell us all about it.
Great. I've got two other companies that are also looking to raise money. I've got another one I was introduced to a couple of hours ago. So I think there's plenty of demand for companies that would like to go through the process. We could run one of these a month, every 2 months, once a quarter. It just depends when there's demand. But we're very happy to do this because we know there's 800 prop techs in the UK. There's many other businesses in the property sector that may want to raise their profile and have investors and our community of investors, partners, lawyers, accountants all coming together. So who knows where it will end up, but we're excited to be doing our first one today.
That's amazing. Oh, well, I hope the event goes well. It sounds like it could be a really, really great opportunity for lots of people as well to get involved in lots of different things. But that's not your main business, is it?
Correct. It's not.
So
would you like to know my main business?
2K Tiger, is that right?
2K Tiger, yeah. So I created the business 3 years ago. It was set up as an event management company. We've expanded that a little bit with the services we offer to what I call a business growth specialist. So we help companies and individuals grow. So we do strategy, content, events. We're also doing we're also building an academy. So we're training people in how to build their connections network, how to do presentation skills, things like that. So very exciting because we're all about people growing.
I think that's absolutely crucial, especially after everything that we've just gone through with the pandemic and everything we're facing over in the Ukraine. Heaven forbid that it will get any worse, but I think growing is the name of the game, isn't it? Helping everyone reach potential and things like that. So you just said something then that it's just gone straight out of my head. So you started as an events management company, but how did that get into the space that you're now in?
Yeah, I mean, I think one of the best ways to grow is through events. So if I may give you a little bit of theory, because I like a little bit of theory, I like to do some reading now and then. And there's a concept called Dunbar's number. Have you heard of this?
I haven't.
Have you heard it? No. Okay. So Robin Dunbar was a British anthropologist, and he works at Oxford University, and he said that you can only have 150 contacts.
Yes.
Have you heard about this number? 150
I have,
is the number.
Now I've gone, oh.
So out of the 150, that's Dunbar's number. He didn't call it Dunbar's number, but people called it Dunbar's number. 5 people may be your children, your partner, your husband, wife, parents, your inner circle. Yeah. Another 15 may be your best friends, your boss at work, your close colleagues. So out of those 20 people, you're likely to spend 70% of your time with them. That only leaves 30% of time with 130 people. Out of the 30%, we may be doing other things. We may be going to the pub. We may be playing football. We may be in the gym. We may be doing things I can't describe here on a live broadcast. But there are so many things. So you really got about 5%, right, to spend with those other people. So if you're really interested in building a network and maintaining the network, how do you keep in touch with those people? Events. So I started getting involved in events. I had a marketing agency in Shoreditch with 2 business partners, great people, great company. We had some great clients, like a high-end golf club called the Wisley, fantastic place. And events was a way to bring people together, raise your profile, connect with people. There are so many benefits that come out of it that I can't explain until you do it. So I just thought that's the way to grow business, through events. But then off the back of that, I realized people need content. So they need help getting their message out there. What do they want to say? Who do they want to say it to? Who's their target audience? We've been creating content through videos, through LinkedIn articles, some social media support. And so we've built a team of experts in those areas to help businesses grow. And then doing consultancy, so one-to-one support or small groups for companies teaching these principles.
How amazing, how fantastically holistic. It's just, sounds wonderful. I do dabble in the social media sphere for estate agents myself. So I know it well.
So you understand
to
it.
tie that all in with events is just genius. Absolutely. I love that. So
and it's also something that Amazon can't do. I don't think Amazon or Google are going to go into running events. And the tech space, they're wonderful companies, but it's hard building something that is difficult to do yourself or to replicate. So it's about building communities, small communities, whether it's local or in a niche area like estate agent networking, for example, building communities to raise your profile, and then all the good things will happen.
Yeah, absolutely. And is there like a process that people have to go through to become a member with you, or, do you know what I mean? Like, do you have to apply rather than just sort of bolt on up?
Yeah, it's a good question. I mean, not really. People can connect with us and then have a chat with me. I will find out what they want. We tend to find the people that work with us have like-minded values. So we try and build long-term partnerships. Integrity is very important to us, and strong ethics. So the people we work with, we have to make sure those things are aligned first. And I think it's the same if you are an estate agent. So before you can go out and network or raise your profile, you have to have a good reputation. That comes from experience. You have to have happy clients. You have to know yourself. If you've got weaknesses, we've all got weaknesses. I've got plenty. I'm not great at admin. I built a team around me that do that. I've got 2 or 3 people that help in those areas. So that's important, of managing around your weaknesses and focusing on your strengths. And then when you've got the integrity, you've got the reputation, then you can go out and meet more people and grow your business, all these other things. But if you haven't got a strong foundation, that's a problem. And we can come in and look at that with clients. We can analyze that and point them in the right directions. And it may be how their website looks, or tidying up their spelling mistakes, or just talking to them about building yourself. What should you learn? What should you be studying to get better? Because then you'll be more confident. So that's kind of a little bit of homework, if you like, a little bit of foundation building before we do the rest of the work, which has come from my branding experience. So working with some great brands, seeing all the attention to detail. A brand is not the logo. So people think a brand is a logo and they just see the logo. It's everything underneath that. It's the uniform. It's how the receptionist answers the guests and treats the guests. If the customer's unhappy, how do you deal with complaints? This is all the brand. So if you've got a strong brand, you need to do less marketing.
Absolutely. It becomes that top of the mind awareness thing, isn't it? That you just become the automatic, the go-to. If you're following the right processes and they're just completely slick. I mean, I always talk about McDonald's as the example for that, because you never go into McDonald's and they say, "Did you want a steak with that?" no one deviates from the process. And that's what people love, because actually you know what you're getting, you know what your expectations are going to be met, and you know what you're going away with. It just makes the whole experience so much simpler, doesn't it?
It does. And I think it's a wonderful example of a very successful business that knows what it does, keeps it simple, but they have great branding, great marketing, good systems. They've got amazing systems. So they're quick, it's not expensive, and people know what they're getting. And obviously, people see the golden arches and want that. And you're right, you don't go in asking for a steak. Wouldn't it be wonderful if they did steaks? That would be great. If you could get a steak for kind of £5 or £6, I'd be all over that. But it's other things. It's chicken nuggets, it's McChicken sandwiches and other things. So it's a great business example. And there's a very good book, because I know we've got estate agents who run small businesses, called The EMyth by Michael Gerber. And I don't know if you've read it or heard about it. Have you come across
times,
it? Yeah,
absolutely.
Why small businesses fail, and he uses McDonald's as the example of growing that.
No, that's a brilliant book to reference, actually. I must put that on my to be read again list. I think a lot of people in estate agency are aware of it, but I was speaking to someone in the industry earlier today, and they said that on Property Industry Eye last year, they said that some inordinate figure of new estate agent businesses have been registered, and a lot of them are going to be self-employed people that are coming out from the corporate and going out and doing it on their own. And the EMyth is an absolutely brilliant book for people in that position.
It is.
So thanks for the reminder for everyone.
No problem. I've got another one if you're interested.
Bring it.
Never Eat Alone by Keith Ferrazzi. So this was one of my favorites. Have you come across this? Have you heard about it? I
don't know that one.
No. Okay. It's got a very distinctive cover, orange and blue, and it very much talks about the things we're talking about here, about building that network, maintaining that network. It's something I read many years ago, and I kind of, again, stick with some of the principles. I think it's important to try things. There's no point just reading books without implementing some of the things. It can be hard because we all get excited by something and then other things take over and then you kind of leave it. And we've all been there, I'm sure I have. So it's very much of focusing on one thing at a time. So pick a project, work on it for a few months, say 3 months, and then almost move on to the next.
I think that's a really good point, especially over COVID. I mean, I'm so guilty of that. Starting a course, buying a course, and this is going to be the silver bullet that's going to fix everything. Yeah. And then, of course, not actually ever completing the course, let alone implementing anything that I learned on it. I think that's where what you're doing, and certainly what I do as well, is coaching and mentoring people with that. Because when you've got that, I've got my own business coach, because without that, I don't do the things, because I push myself a little bit, but then I come away from it, and I push myself a little and I come away from it. But when you've got someone else driving it, it just helps you get over that line a little bit more often, I think, doesn't it? It sounds like
100%.
What you're providing for your clients.
We are, and I totally agree with you. And I've got 2 business advisors, mentors, call them what they are. They are amazing people. They're very successful. You know, with a mentor, you want someone where you want to be in a few years, who's been on the journey. And the things that I really appreciate now, I'm a little bit older, is people that are quite tough with me and tell me the truth. It's not about telling me how good I am at things. It's in a positive, constructive way. Mrinal, you need to work on this, or you're not doing this very well. Why not? What's the issue? I have learned to love the tough feedback, the constructive criticism. I don't take things personally. When I was much younger, I would take everything personally. Now I'm like, tell me more, because I want to get better. I need to get better. So yes, I'm coaching other people, but I also have this myself. And I think that's almost the ideal scenario, because I'm in my client's shoes as well, of building my own business, doing this all the time for ourselves. And it's much easier to talk with empathy when you do that.
I think that's key for me. That's completely key to my entire approach is being heart-led, and that means doing everything with empathy first. And I completely agree with you. It really helps to be in the same shoes And also I say to my clients, I'm learning this with you. Some of it, there's some bits I've done before and I can show you the way, but other bits, especially in social media, the algorithms are changing all the time, and this, that, and the other. And also a lot of well-being stuff. I might know the well-being, but I'm not necessarily that great at following it every single day to the letter. But that gives you the human touch, doesn't it? That empathetic. Don't worry, it's not just you.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, you're right.
Going back to events, one of the things that I often see crop up on social media is people talking about introversion and extroversion, and especially in a estate agency, I think we've got quite a lot of really big, strong characters that are loud and noisy on social media. And I think sometimes there are other characters that feel a little bit intimidated by that. Perhaps they'd consider themselves introverted. Where do you think events, as they're coming back to being in real life, where do you think they exist for more of an introverted person, if that makes sense?
Well, before I answer, I would say that's a fantastic question because it's one that probably not many people have asked or addressed. So it's a really good question. Now, I believe that often introverts can be very successful because they live in their own world a little bit. So they're probably great at listening, because if you're a bit of an extrovert like me, you like to talk, and listening is a harder thing to do. An introvert's probably better at listening, maybe following up, getting the job done, all of those kind of things. So clients will really like them. I think some of the tough things for introverts may be asking for testimonials, believing in themselves. With regards to events, I would say an introvert probably plans an event really well. They're probably quite thoughtful with the guest list. They're probably quite diligent with following up. Where they may struggle is maybe standing up and speaking. You don't have to do a lot of that at an event. You can design an event around that. I think life is a team game, right? So I think collaborations and partnerships are important. So if an introvert can find an extrovert who could maybe do, say, the hosting bit, that's one way around it. But I think for introverts, they should have a good solid reputation because they'll be very focused on getting every single detail right in their work. And I think for everyone, one event a quarter is a good amount, let's say the minimum, I think, if you really want to grow, because it's too far seeing people. They might go to other people's events or just lose interest in you. So I think one event every 12 weeks is a good number. You can do one a month. Obviously, budget depends, and you could do smaller ones, but it doesn't always have to be big events, right? 15, 20 people. I did an event just before Christmas. It was our Christmas drink. So we probably had 16, 17 people there. If the room isn't too big, it felt like a full room. Often people say it's the quality of people at the event. So choose wisely and just build on that. And that's what I would say introverts can do. But they can talk to people like us. We will help them with advice and strategy and guidance for that.
I think it's a really good point. I speak to lots of clients that are interested in attracting more landlords, for example. And when we were in a estate agency in Somerset in England, we were putting on quarterly landlord events. But for some people, like you say, that can be a bit overwhelming because actually you don't really know where to start. So it must be amazing to have somebody like you that has got the roadmap and can be there to support and say, these are the things you can do.
And I'm a landlord as well, and I've been kind of in the markets for 20 odd years almost, right? And I wasn't planning to do that. It just kind of happened, and I'm glad I did. But I think with landlords, it's not selling too much. It's almost that giving some education, being authentic. That's what they would like and appreciate. So telling, just things like that, making their lives easier. So I know for me, it's things like knowing about the certificates that you need and the legislation and the compliance, and almost taking that off my hands and things like that. And pricing, like if you're going to put a contractor in front of me, make sure it's a sensible price. If it's double the price I could get somewhere else, I'm going to lose trust in something there, right? So it's things like that. Because it's much better to have those landlords and then get the referrals. Because if you do a good job and they're happy, they will refer. They probably know other landlords.
Absolutely. I think most landlords know other landlords, don't they? Because you become chums, don't you, at some level, and all of a sudden you're all in the same sort of boat. I heard, just speaking of trust, then I heard a fantastic quote yesterday, which was, "Trust is gained in drips and lost in buckets." Now, I thought that was just so succinct. Put it absolutely beautifully, especially from a marketer's perspective, because trying to explain to salespeople that want results now, that marketing takes a little bit longer than right now.
Exactly. Absolutely. Yeah. And especially with social media, because social media is a drip feeding process where you're just, I mean, we've all probably heard of the book Jab, 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 Right Hook by Gary Vaynerchuk. If you haven't and you're interested in the topic, that's a pretty good one. He's one of the go-to guys on the topic. And the idea of not selling anything, but just putting something out there and just building that community. And then once in a while, you might have something out there. It's a little bit different than the leafleting approach. But I think even with leafleting, people know that, yes, most of it will get thrown away, but at least they've seen the brand.
Absolutely. There's pros and cons to all of it. And I think that's why it's called a marketing mix, isn't it? You don't just put all your eggs in one basket. You try lots of different things. And I think that's a key, as well as you're testing things. But as long as you're consistent, and like you say with your events, if you're doing, pick a number, 1 a quarter, as long as that's nice and consistent, you become a reliable thing. And then you're back to the McDonald's thing. People know what to expect and they get what they expect. And that makes people feel very comfortable and safe with you, doesn't it?
Yeah. I mean, you've heard the phrase, I'm sure, people buy from people and people buy from those they know, like, and trust. So whether it's doing events or the marketing, the digital marketing, this all helps. But sometimes you can build authentic relationships. They can be just going out for lunch with one person. There's an agent I know in Chiswick, West London, where I am, and I've got to know him over the years, and we've played tennis together. And when I wanted to put a property on the market, it was before Brexit. He said, "Don't put it on the market. Wait and see." And I thought, that's really good that you're telling me not to put it on the market, even though you could make some money now. So, he's got me as a long-term friend and ally because I trust him.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that's key, isn't it? And that comes back to community, and community can be online and it can be offline. And I think the one good thing, if it can be called that came out of COVID is that certainly in England or Britain, people have realized that the digital community isn't a fake one. It is a real thing, and you build social media contacts, and actually these Zoom calls become real people. They are real people behind the screen. You're not, it's not just drivel and, Candy Crush or something.
Exactly. There is that element of the online world, which is maybe to be avoided or whatever, but it is authentic relationships. What you do offline, you can do online, and vice versa. Yeah. So I completely agree. And like, let's take Zoom for example, because in the pandemic, we'd never done a virtual event before, and in March 2020 we did our first one, and then we went on and did 30 virtual events after that. In about 30, it's a lot, isn't it, in 15 months? But clients kept asking for it, and we try and put the same effort and energy and passion and creativity into an online event. So it might be speakers and quizzes and games, and just make it different, and little breakout groups, and just build that. Because if you are in a room, say you've invited 15, 20 people, and there's only you from your business, it's really hard to go around and talk to everyone. So you may want 1 or 2 people on your team working with you to make sure everybody gets a bit of your time, for example. I mean, I think there's a bit of a fear when you do your first client engagement event, but once you've done 1 or 2, it gets more comfortable, and you start attracting people who become your team members. And it grows, and that's what's happened for me. And many clients have asked me for the same thing for their business. So that's when you've got something. Because a little bit like you mentioned the word experimenting earlier and testing. We do a lot of that. We try different things and go, where is the interest here? So for example, a client of mine, a friend of mine, wants to build a property sector golf club. And he and I play golf together. He's a surveyor. He knows lots of people in that world. He said, why don't we do this together? Now, I'm a very keen golfer. I'm involved in property and I love property. And I've said, there's a lot of people in property. There's a lot of people who like golf. We are going to create a property golf club called the Prop Golf Club. We're going to bring little groups, because when you go to an event and there's 70 people there, it can be too big. You can't get around and meet enough people. You that seems to resonate with you, right? So we're thinking small. We're thinking 16 to 20 people, 24 people max, you know, that kind of thing. If it gets bigger, we'll do another one, a separate event. And then we won't have 5 lawyers at every event. We can control it a little bit and just have 1 or 2. So that way there's the diverse mix that we want. We also want to teach people golf who want to get into it, because I meet a lot of people, you know, a lot of ladies especially, who go, I really like to play golf so I can go on the golf days. I don't know how. And I'm like, good, we can help you with that. We can get you some coaching. We can give you your first lesson and help you get into it so you feel comfortable.
That's so cool.
Yeah, it's fun, isn't it? I mean, it's talking to people and going, what do they want? How can we help? We already do a lot of this, so it's just building a framework around it.
Amazing. Tell you who I've met, speaking of connections and things like that. In the last week, I've met a hypnotherapist who specializes in professional golf.
Oh, wow.
Like helping them improve their performance. So he could be a really good contact for you.
I might need that number. You've obviously seen me play, because you're mentioning it, and I might need it. But now it's a very mental game, and I know you're over in Spain, and you know there's some wonderful golf courses there. It's a very popular sport. But whatever you're interested in, it doesn't have to be sport. It's just finding people who you connect with, and then you can follow up. You could be interested in the arts, the theatre, dance, music, comedy. You just bring those people together.
I love that. Prop golf. I think that's brilliant.
Prop golf. Yeah. We've got PropDen, which is the tech event tonight. We've got prop golf, which is happening in a couple of weeks.
How exciting. Well, I think that's awesome. Is there anything I haven't asked you about that you have a burning desire to talk to me about?
No, I mean, I think that just in terms of a framework for people, if they are looking to grow their business, I would say it's about building your profile locally. I assume most estate agents are local businesses. Some may be in central London or Manchester or so on, but building your profile locally, doing events, doing some digital marketing, building a team around you. That could be a marketing person, a salesperson, admin support, whatever that is, because there's your business that you've got now, but think ahead a little bit of where do you really want to be? And we can all have goals. We can say, I want an office that turns over 200,000 or 500,000 or 1 million or multiple offices. But you've got to think with the end in mind. And to get there, you need that team. So build that team and then one-to-one relationships, because there are people out there that can really scale you up. It can be a landlord that's got several properties and you get in with him or her and then you're flying. So to get that is the quality. And that's it. And if anybody wants to find out more, you know, come and talk to us. We can help out.
Awesome. Well, I know that I've tagged your company in a couple of things, so I'll try and put some links underneath or something like that.
Yeah, perfect.
Or above, or
yeah,
somewhere helpful.
Yeah, some hashtag thing somewhere. Yeah,
some hashtag thing somewhere.
Yeah. Wonderful.
Amazing. Thank you so much for your time today. It's been amazing.
It's been a pleasure.
Meet you, and best of luck with the event tonight, and we'll look forward to hearing more about PropDen in the future. And
great. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye.